Let me tell you something, Tarek.
You're
I'm gonna tell you this
fantastic,
story.
guys.
I'm gonna tell you this, because you brought up that 1 and 8. I have a cousin. He's more like an uncle to me because he's a lot older, but he's actually my cousin. We call him Uncle Charles. Uncle Charles is autistic. Um, and my Uncle Charles would walk the equivalent of, let's call it about a mile across a bridge every day. So we lived in a 2 fare zone. So he would walk across the bridge, and he worked at a McDonald's on Hunts Point, and he lived on Colgate. So he would walk across the bridge and walk to work and walk home every day. And I think Uncle Charles did 25 years at McDonald's and walked to work, rain, sleet, hail, snow,
Yep.
and they never treated him poorly. They loved him. You understand? They, gave him different jobs and they supported him. And this is what we talk about again, like a part of the community of what McDonald's plays, right? So my Uncle Charles worked there for 25 years until he retired and things of that nature. And he enjoyed going to work. He wore his visor, the visor. He wore his visor and he had his uniform and he was proud. He was proud to go to work. And when he went to work, it wasn't like, oh, I'm working at McDonald's, like, woe is me. It was like, this is my job and I'm happy to do it. And that resonated because of the culture that they provided for him to feel that way, right? Super important, right? That he was able to have a job, have a career, right? And them forced to somebody with a learning disability and make him feel like he's welcome, which again helps in the community because the community sees that.
And
The community sees that, right? So,
100%.
again, like, huh?
we see it all.
100%. 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
I was one of the greatest
Yeah.
honors of spending time with that company was meeting a lot of Uncle Charles. I mean, that was
Yeah.
like,
That's
and,
real.
and what they,
Yeah.
I say that to take no specialness away from Uncle Charles. I say it for the specialness of that is a place where all the Uncle Charles knew they could have
Yeah.
meaning. They knew they could be seen. They knew they could have a meaningful role. They knew they could serve a community, and they knew they could make a living doing it. And
Yeah.
that stuff's really meaningful. And so
Mm.
that's the stuff that between that and like other
Yeah.
signals, like, last week was, the McDonald's All-American game was in Brooklyn last week, right?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I mean,
I was
you
supposed
can
to be there.
keep I took my daughter was like, wait, what do you mean you're leaving McDonald's? The game's in New York this year. I'm like, I think we're good. I think I can still get you there. So we were there. We were at the game and watch because the 50-year anniversary of that game is in 2 years, and you're gonna watch that game
Right.
continue. Like it's been woken up. When you
Yeah.
look at the play, like that percentage of every player that's played in that McDonald's All-American game of the guys, what percentage do you think went on to the NBA?
I would say
What's your
about
guess?
30,
70,
40.
80%. Nah, I want to say like 70, 80%, man. You gotta be nice to play in that McDonald's All-American game. That's
She does close. It's almost 70% of those guys have gone on to play in the NBA.
yeah, man. Those are ball players.
So
yeah.
so that's a game that the team just needed to be given room to unlock and really tell that story. You'll see a story told early next year. Amazon's going to release a documentary on the history of the game that we were part of in developing, and so part of that was about the biggest elements of success that we had on the business during my tenure was leaning into culture. And a lot of brands talk about culture, but like for me, we were coming off. We had just done Travis Scott as I joined the organization, which had been a huge blow up moment, right? But as I said to the team when I got congratulations, I mean, this Travis Scott thing it's legit, it's real, right? And he's like off the hook. What's going on with famous orders? But it's a campaign, guys. You now have put yourself in the culture. Okay, what are y'all going to do to stay here? Because just as here, you can get canceled and you have to have a plan. And so we established a very clear roadmap of what McDonald's role and culture was.